Hello. In the news is the Gulf of Mexico. Like it's in like the Alabama, Louisiana area underneath that. There was an oil spill that happened. It was in April of 2010. You know, there's different oil companies that drill down in the ocean to get oil. One of the rigs spilled the oil. It was pretty far away. They dug down really far through the ocean floor, like the bottom of the ocean. There's machines and everything set up like on this kind of boat type thing that's in the ocean. And people work on there. It's called an oil rig. It's submersible, so it means it's floating. You know, it's on the water and there's different things that stabilize it. They drill down to make it somewhat stable, but they can move it. They can dig down to up to 8,000 feet of water. The name of the company was Transocean. They were allowed to use it until 2013. So they started drilling, getting up the oil, everything, and there was no problems at first. Then all of a sudden, in the night, was this explosion. People had to hurry up and get off the rig. There was 26 people on there. So they were safe. There were some that were hurt, and they had to stay in the hospital. And there was a fire that continued for 22 days, and the whole thing just ended up sinking. There was 11 other people that were not found, and they just had to assume that they died. It's called an oil spill, but it's not really an oil spill. I mean, it's not like there was a boat and an oil just spilled off of it or anything. It wasn't like that. It was an oil leak. I mean, because they were drilling down into the ocean, through the ocean floor to get it, and they were leaking oil. They lost a ton of barrels in one day. Like 5,000 barrels. So it's like 10,000 gallons. And there was lots of helicopters and media taking pictures, you know. They think it might be up to 25,000 barrels in a day, which we're talking millions of dollars. Back in 1989, Exxon, they had a leak as well, an oil spill, and they lost thousands of gallons. 2,007 barrels. It was awful. And now, with this one, you know, it's just terrible. You know, like when it was a small leak, then not a problem. But April 24th, they realized this was a pretty big leak. So BP, they don't know what happened. That was the company that was in charge of it that it happened to. And with the fire and everything related, you know, it was all related to digging for that oil down underneath the ocean. And when something broke, that's when it happened. So the oil leaked from that or another one. I mean, there was 3 different leaks. Now now they dig down through the water, they can go 1,800 feet. Now they have like a blowout protection, so it will prevent that from happening again. So if they see something happening, they can cap it, and then they won't have such a huge situation. People can actually put a cap on it or a lid on it to prevent it from being a huge situation. If they see it, they can stop it and avoid a catastrophe. So if they start digging for oil and there's a leak, the oil that leaks, the boat will take it away. And if it's not strong enough, they'll have to take care of that. With the other two, it might be like 4 weeks before they're ready. So another one, they're going to dig down from another location and then come over to the original location and cap that so it doesn't leak. Close that one. And then they'll be ready to drill for oil, continue on with that. They have to get permission to dig down through the other one, to the other one. And it'll take like 2 or 3 months to do it. It's a lot of work. So right now, the oil is just bubbling up and spreading out. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, all of those areas are worried that it's going to ruin their land, it's going to ruin their fishing area. Plus, many people, they have different kinds of birds around in their area that live there. And they're worried about affecting them. The Gulf of Mexico is used for fishing. Sometimes people use it, the stores or the restaurants get their fish there. So it really does affect a lot when that oil ruins the ocean. 40% of all of America's fish comes from that area, the Gulf of Mexico. So, it's kind of, killed the jobs for people. There's no work, they can't fish there, so they can't, because the fish aren't clean. And, businesses start closing because they don't have fish. And it's ruined the economy in that area. They're trying to get all the shrimp they can now before the oil gets all the way over there. Because once the oil reaches there, they can't do any more. They put this thing around, it's called a boom, so that the oil can't get past it, so the oil can't spread. So fishing boats can't even go out. And they just want to prevent that oil from coming in any closer. So it depends on people, people go for vacation and they have lots of money, but many people have canceled their vacation to that area. Hotels have seen a lot of cancellations too. It's ruined the fish, the animals, the natural resources. And whales have died. Plus, there's many little islands that have been affected. Clean water is a very important thing to have. once the oil sticks to things, it weights it down and then it sinks and then it spreads out. So there's probably a lot of like fish bones and decay and stuff at the bottom of the ocean. There's like 34,000 birds, different kind of birds, pelicans, gulls, that sort of thing, waterfowl, many different kinds that they have in the area. So they're trying to clean up the oil, from the rigs. They've closed them down for now. They just don't want it to get worse. Because oil will burn and they don't want it to spread. So they have the booms and stuff like that and boats trying to help clean it up, and it's a mess. They're just trying to prevent another oil leak. We'll see what happens.